Welcome to that pipe.
What?
Welcome to the Bad Pipes podcast.
Whenever you carry your note too long, your mic automatically mutes you. Did you know that?
What?
Yeah. It's like the noise canceling stuff so that you don't hear like fans and things in the background of people.
Oh, so just like it cut me out there for a
so
second.
like once you hit the same note for too long, it just cuts you out.
I'll be really interested to hear how that intro went.
This is some behind baseball right now for our 5 listeners and our 1 Berlin listener.
That was pretty good.
I don't know about Scott, but I'm still on that cold and sinus medicine.
I'm finally 100% better as of like a day or 2 ago.
Yeah.
It took forever. Like I got that. Like I got rid of my cold, and I had a fucking sore throat that came up, and it just would not go away for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm past most of like the nose and sore throat stuff, and now it's just that chest phlegm.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so this episode, which people will probably see before they listen to this part, this is just going to be a 5 Nights at Freddy's review, because we had jokingly said we were going to do it for the end of October, and then we forgot it was coming out. And then Matt, who was supposed to join us for our Cyberpunk episode, which was supposed to be this week, he's a planner badly planner, and we gotta figure out a time to record with him over the weekend. So instead, what you're getting is this Friday night at Freddy's, because we're recording this on a Friday night.
It's the other FNAF, Friday Night at Freddy's.
Yeah, I've decided that's the episode title.
I like it. Yeah.
All right, that's it. Kiss your dogs. Good night.
Okay, so getting into it. Okay, so our review for Willy's Wonderland. Oh, sorry, shit. I meant Freddy Fazbear. Five Nights at Freddy's. What?
This movie is $20 million. Can you believe that?
I actually was just looking that up, so I was going, what's the budget? Because right now it's showing the domestic gross is 80 mil. So it's 4 times. It's already 4 times.
Dude, that makes sense. People go fucking crazy for the Five Nights at Freddy's stuff. Have you ever played any of the games?
I haven't, but I want you to know I'm deep in the lore. I watch YouTube videos about the lore.
Oh my god.
I've been doing it since way back. I used to watch Matt Pat's videos. He would put out shout out Matt Pat. What is
Pat,
it?
By the way, in the movie, he plays a waiter.
Yes, he does. Yeah. No, I used to watch his, like, he would just do his little like, oh, here's what's going down in the lore. And then honestly, before the movie came out, probably like a month ago, I watched like some dude had a pretty good kind of like his view on what the definitive lore is, because like there's still it's very vague, so like people are still kind of like up in the air on certain things, and there's a lot of hot debate within the FNAF community. Yeah,
I see. Well, there's been like 20 games at this point?
Yeah, there's been there's like 9 or 10.
Yeah,
it's a lot. And I mean, there's even like offshoot games from what I understand. So I mean, yeah, could be upwards of 20.
Wait, I know when you're like walking through like corporate bookstores or like FYE in the malls or stuff like that, there's always like a Five Nights at Freddy's section. Probably in Hot Topic too. I haven't been in a Hot Topic in like probably 10 years at least, but they're probably in there.
I mean, yeah, strong merch. They got some strong merch game.
Yeah, you always see them. You always see them teenagers running around with the Five Nights at Freddy's shirts on.
Yeah. So yeah. How did this start out? I can't remember how the movie exactly started out.
It has like a little it teases you a little bit. It gives you the old security guy like running around in the place as like,
oh right,
and then you see the like bear mask coming down on him with all the saws or whatever in it, and
yeah,
cutting him up.
yeah.
And then it hops over to our boy, Young Hunger Games, and he's having like nightmares or something.
Yeah.
No, he's a security guard in the mall, and then he like beats up someone's dad.
Oh yeah, he
gets
thinks that
fired.
dude's. He thinks that dude's like kidnapping a kid, and obviously with his background trauma, he's like, nah, not on my watch, and he pulls a Paul Blart and gets fired.
Paul Blart and mall cops, that guy.
Yeah. No, for real. And then that makes him. I mean, he's got a not a daughter. He's got a sister. He's got to provide for. So, homeboy, he's got to go get a new job. And sure enough, Matthew Lillard has a job perfect for him.
Yep.
Also, does it ever address what happened to their parents?
It does in like the middle of the movie. I think it says that they like got divorced and like one of them drank themselves to death or something like that. And the other one just left.
Pretty fucking depressing.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of trauma in this movie, for being real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so he takes his job as the security guard for Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria.
That he does. Oh, we should mention this is a Blumhouse production as well, because that's a pretty good name within like
it is, yeah,
horror-y type movies.
Yeah, Blumhouse. I feel like
also
Blumhouse
making
and
things on a budget.
A24 are like two that really come to mind when we're talking about kind of like edgier horror.
Yeah, I mean, A24 is definitely more of like an art house studio, whereas I feel like Blumhouse is more of like a, I don't know, maybe not like art house, but definitely kind of what you were saying, like edgier or trying to be. I feel like edgy has like a foul connotation nowadays, but like more, they're trying to be on like the cutting edge, doing new stuff.
Yeah.
Do you feel like they did that with this movie?
I guess so. I feel like with the FNAF name, they really, I think they had some pressure to kind of stay true and not take too many liberties, which they didn't. I think they did a pretty good job of staying true to a lot of the lore. So yeah, I think in that regard, like, I don't think they had an opportunity to really like kind of push it and be as edgy as possible. I don't know. On a $20 million budget, I'm pretty sure, aren't the animatronics real? Like, they built animatronics for this, right?
I don't know. Like, they might have had some animatronics, but I know a lot of it would have been like dude in a suit, you know. Like when you're looking at the cast, like Freddy Fazbear is played by a guy, and Chica is played by a girl, and you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Huh.
I don't know. I feel like it didn't like blow me away or nothing.
Yeah, no, I definitely wasn't blown away. I actually, I think at some points in this, I was being like, I kind of wish this was more like Willy's Wonderland.
I also found myself doing that, like somewhere in that like second act where like his sister is now like going there too, and she's like being friendly with him, and then the what's her name, Vanessa, I believe, is like getting mad at him for bringing her there.
Yeah.
That whole section for me was just like that's where you're getting a lot of like his background explained with like the
The
his brother
brother.
being abducted,
Yeah.
dropping the lines about his parents. Like in that section, I was kind of like, God, I just wish we were at the point where things were like heating up now, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the first 2/3 of the movie feel very safe, I guess.
Oh yeah. No, definitely. Like, it's very interesting. So like you have this like whole setup and like basically yeah, that first 2/3 of the movie feels very dull, and it's a lot of setup on like this character who's not very much related to the lore or the video games, and his sister, and like Vanessa. And so like you have like all this setup, and it's just kind of like, then all of a sudden that last third we get a bunch of action, we get a fucking lore dump, and like what is actually going on with like all this fucking shit in the pizzeria. And I was like I found that last third like actually a lot more engaging than like the first 2/3 of the movie. Yeah. Being like, I really didn't care a whole lot.
Do you feel like all of the character establishment that they did for the first 2/3 of the movie made that payoff better?
No.
No?
Nah. I feel like they could have just kind of like... and I think part of this goes kind of back to like the actual lore of like the games. It's like, do you know like any of the actual lore of like the video games, like the first like...
Yeah, you mentioned it on the podcast before.
Yeah, so kind of like, and I feel like they could have done this instead of having this random dude with his sister play him. So like, the character you're playing, or it's suspected you're playing in the games, is the son of William Afton. So the dude in the yellow rabbit suit, the serial killer guy. Mm-hmm. Like, you're in the video games, you're, at least in the first like 1 or 2 or whatever, you're playing his son, who is taking the job of security guard to investigate.
Turns out to be Matthew Lillard in this movie.
It does, yeah. Which plot twist. He was giving out jobs, but to lure, I guess, security guards in to kill them. Maybe very very similar to Willy's Wonderland in that aspect.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't sure if they were actually going to have him be alive or not, because it is lore canon that he is killed by the Springtrap suit of the Yellow Rabbit. What's its name? I can't remember its name in the actual games. Yeah, so it's just like he actually does die that way in the video games, and then. Yeah, like basically, it's his, like, really one of the cool deep lore things they don't really explain it. He's just kind of like this guy in the movie who's like doing this shit. There's no really like motive. We're just kind of like supposed to accept that this dude is just going around in a yellow rabbit suit killing children, and now other people are like just kind of living there with them. I don't know what his deal is. I'm also kind of like, if people know he's doing this, like, why is no one trying to track him down? I don't know. But like, he has motive in the games when he's still alive. His motive is like he had 2 sons, and the older son was bullying the younger son, puts the younger son in the mouth of Freddy Fazbear, and he dies. And then William Afton realizes his son's body possessed that suit, and he goes, "Oh shit." Like, there might be a way to, like, bring him back. He basically starts experimenting with the suits and children, realizing that the soul of his son got saved in this animatronic. And so he's, like, basically he's kidnapping kids and killing them in experiments using animatronic suits. That's his whole motive in the video games.
Is the Yellow Rabbit's named Steve?
No, Steve was the nameplate he had working the job as, like, the fucking the dude. I can't remember the name. It is.
Wikipedia here is just saying the quote Yellow Rabbit suit.
Yeah. Fuck! It has a name. I can't remember. Because Bonnie's the normal rabbit.
Oh well.
Yeah. I can't remember, but yeah, basically he starts experimenting with kids and animatronics. It actually leads him to like he opens up like a lab where he creates like an actual company that's like working in animatronics, because like before people realize he's like a serial killer murdering children. And he's like making these other animatronics that are like I don't. Basically, his daughter also becomes obsessed with one of these, and she ends up dying at the end. He basically just like gets all of his kids murdered because he's like a psycho mad scientist working with animatronics, and it inevitably leads to his death. Well, but then obviously it can be understood.
What did you say the box office was at right now?
It said 80 million on Rotten Tomatoes.
The worldwide take right now is 154 million.
Damn. Yeah, gross US was 80.
Second, it's saying 94.2 million for the US and Canada.
Wow.
And 59.9 more in other territories.
I mean, extremely profitable.
Yeah.
Also, apparently the Yellow Rabbit suit is also Bonnie. It's just known as Spring Bonnie because it's a spring trap suit.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, there's also like lore where like he actually had a partner who's like a good guy, and the good guy also had a kid, and then William Afton also like murders his partner's kid, and so like some of the games you're playing as William's older son who like realized he fucked up by accidentally getting his little brother murdered, and now he's trying to like stop his father, like undo what his father was doing. And I guess there's some games where you're playing as like William's partner in the whole business, and you're also trying to like work to like undo all this evilness he's done. So the lore's pretty cool. Any viewers out there who are more interested in it, there's pretty good ones you can find on YouTube. I can't remember the exact one that I watched, but I mean, you literally just look up like FNAF lore, and you can go into like a hour and a half long video where they delve into it. But as far as the movie goes, the lore is pretty interesting. It's just like they got stuff right on surface level, but they didn't delve too much into it. And then you had like, again, you have like weird stuff. Like you didn't get like the motive in the movie of like why William's doing this. He's just kind of like this dude who's, I don't know, he has like a collection of animatronic ghost children, and he wants more animatronic ghost children. Maybe he's trying to raise an army. I don't know.
So I don't know if you knew this, because I don't think you got to the point. Well, you might have gotten to the point in Obi-Wan where you see Luke, like child Luke.
I think so. Yeah, I think I did actually.
So the kid that plays the Freddy possessor.
Oh, is that child Luke?
That's the same kid that plays child Luke.
True, the little blonde kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I did like that they had like the switch up at the end where, you know, she basically like they're going off the picture that's on the wall of like, oh, we're friends with the Yellow Rabbit, and then like she like takes the picture down and is like, yeah, no, actually the Yellow Rabbit's actually who killed you. Because I'm it's kind of hokey the way they did it, but at the same time I'm glad they did it, because I was like,
that was my issue with the whole movie really, was that it was like easily predictable. Like I don't know any of the lore.
Yeah.
And like I don't know. Like,
well, I was sitting.
A good turn in a horror movie is like someone actually betraying someone, you know, or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of sitting there, and I'm just like, why are they like working for him? They like in the video games, it's not the case. Like, actually, the reason like you playing his like older son in the video games, the reason they're coming after you is because like you're the son of the dude who killed these children. Like, that's the whole reason the animatronics are coming after you as the security guard when you're in there trying to, like, undo what your father's done. Like, they're just coming after you because they're just like, oh, like, you probably, like, you're his son, and you also probably look like him. So I was like, why are they, like, I don't know why they're helping this dude, like, murder more children. And so at least they, like, did something to explain away that. But, again, in my opinion, it was a little hokey. I don't know. The whole thing with, like, our boy baby Hunger Games and his like missing brother. I thought it would have made more sense to me if you were like his brother fucking like they were together at a Freddy Fazbear's back in the 80s and his brother like went missing and it's assumed he got kidnapped or something, and then it's like better explained that like what the fuck was William Afton doing out in the middle of fucking Nebraska kidnapping kids? Like that's so coincidental. It just really made no sense to me. It would have made more sense if it was like, oh yeah, he and his family were.
Movie take place in Nebraska? Like I don't
think so. I think
it really defining where it takes place.
I don't think so. I think he was just like, yeah, they were. I'm pretty sure he said they were just like out there vacationing or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let me see if it says. I don't know if it'll.
What are reviews on this?
Critics gave it a 28. Or no, it's at a 30 for critics right now. Audience score is an 88 for verified. Unverified is actually a 90%.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah.
That's a rabid fan base coming to its defense.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I'm assuming it's a lot of the diehard fans just kind of
pumping the numbers there.
Yeah. And I mean,
the old positive review bombing.
To be fair, I don't think I think they took a game that's that has very obscure and very like non-specific lore, and they made it into a somewhat palatable movie. Something that like I don't know, because you can't really like take what they give you in the video games and turn that directly into a movie. I get that. I think there's some things they could have changed, but I think overall, like they kept true to the lore. Like they didn't actually like fuck up any of the lore like royally. Like they didn't do anything that like really takes it and just like shits on it. Kind of like
but, like, what we've had done. Someone who is not aware of the lore and straight up just like doesn't care. Like,
in that case,
gave me nothing.
Exactly, because in that case, that's where it falls flat. Is like, okay, if you're aware of the lore, it's probably pretty decent for you. Because like you could fill in the blanks.
Plotting movie overall, like it just kind of like trundles on for 2/3.
So that's kind of why I was saying is like, I looked at it from a point of view where it's like, okay, if I'm not familiar with this lore, how am I viewing this? And that's where I came to the conclusion, like you're getting a lot of holes, or just like a lot of unanswered, like question, like in this movie, you're just getting a whole lot of like very surface value stuff where it's just kind of like you're left wondering a lot of things. I feel like.
Not really. I mean, not like... I didn't feel like I was left wondering that much. I was just like, nah, that was something.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair.
I don't know.
I mean, it's
surface. I don't feel like very surface. Did a particularly good job at like establishing an atmosphere of suspense or anything.
No,
like
not at all. I think that's the other thing is that's one complaint I've seen from some people who are fans who are being critical of the movie. Is like Five Nights at Freddy's as a video game was full of jump scares. Like that's one of the things they sold on. This movie had 0 jump scares whatsoever.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So it's kind of like, okay, you can't really see yourself as a horror movie. Like this was almost. I would say this movie was made specifically for fans, just giving them.
It just felt like a
fan service,
safe for young teenagers kind of movie, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I'd say kids and teenagers. I mean, even kids watching this, I feel like would be pretty fine. I think it just is purely fan service to give them.
Yeah, there's like nothing close to the level of movies that we were watching through October, you know? Like,
yeah.
I don't know, like the only movie that's coming to my head right now is like Hellraiser, you know, which is like just an iconic classic piece of horror. And like obviously 2 very different vibes there. 2 very different levels of like gore and terror, I guess.
Mhm.
But like throughout Hellraiser, even before things have like really blown up at the end, there are things that like unsettle you throughout the movie, right? Like
Mhm.
the fucking nail scene on the stairs, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And again, the first 2/3 of this movie, there's like nothing really for me there. You just watch his brother get abducted like 6 times in his dream, and then like something changes every time. And
Yeah.
I'm just not a big fan of like that as a storytelling mechanic. Is the like repeat the same scene, but we'll change something every time.
Yeah.
I just think it gets very tiring after like the second time you see the same scene.
No, definitely.
Especially if you're not like seeing the scene from a different perspective.
Mhm.
And that like different perspective revealing something new. Like if you're just watching it from the same guy's perspective, it just gets tired really quick.
Yeah. No, I would agree. No, it just I feel like part of that is like being safe for like a younger audience. Is like I think they could have been like a little bit more gory if they wanted it to really be like more of a mature thing. They could have been like more gory, or at least like given us some more of those moments of just like when the Springtrap suit's like activating and digging into William. Like in the video games, they make it like again, it's like I think the scene that that takes place in the video game that shows it happen. It's like a lot of the flashback scenes are done in like 8-bit, so they're like pixel art sort of thing going on. It's like you're not getting like good graphics. Like they just kind of like show his death in like a flashback of like pixels. But even then, like it shows like he like the Springtrap suit activates and like blood just fucking pouring out of this thing onto the ground. Like it's more of a gruesome death than just like you see it dig into him. He gets dragged off, and he's left there like groaning while he dies and inevitably haunts the suit.
Yeah, honestly, I really don't have much more to say about this one.
No.
I don't feel like it's less than a 5 for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think you could watch it and enjoy it,
Mm-hmm.
even if you're not like a big fan of it.
Yeah.
I don't know, just somewhere in the low 5s for me.
Yeah, I think I was gonna give it just a 5.5. It's
I
like
don't
I think
it's an outright bad movie, but I don't think that there's anything that like really sets it above any other movie.
I think it's a movie you could watch through once, then you could just kind of forget about it. Like you don't really need to watch it again and again.
Yeah.
I'm like honestly, if you want like a good story about some possessed fucking suits and what's going on with them, just watch a lore video on YouTube or play the fucking video games.
Yeah. Because, like, I can't even say that this is, like, Willy's Wonderland, objectively, like, a worse story, but more fun.
100%. And there were times where I'm just looking at this and I'm just like, I just kind of wish they would just, like, you just had fucking Nick Cage's character, you just throw him in Freddy Fazbear's, and, like, these fucking, like, everyone like you had fucking Josh Hutcherson, baby fucking our guy, our boy, and like his daughter, and even like they're all just terrified of these fucking animatronics. And it was like you'd have fucking Nick Cage's character from Willy's Wonderland, and they're just ripping their fucking throats out. He'd just be shrugging, and then he'd go fucking take a break and slam a fucking energy drink while playing pinball.
I kind of think that in that second act, you needed more to make you distrust like all of the animatronics.
Yeah.
Because you don't really get that.
Yeah.
And in fact, like you get them being kind of weird, but then they're all like safe and friendly with his sister. And you're like like me only knowing that the game is about like sitting in a room watching cameras and these things are all like trying to come in and kill you, which I think that's probably most people's understanding of the game that are just like surface level aware of it are going to be like, what the fuck? I thought these things like kill people. Like, what's going on? You know?
Yeah.
And you kind of get that in the earlier scene with the first security guy, but you're also like, I don't know. You just needed more to distrust them. You need them to be like doing weird things that you don't expect them to do and kind of like unsettle you.
Yeah.
Like weirdly menacing things, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's it. That's a good word for it. Like they lack menace.
Oh yeah. No, there's I don't think there was any point where it was just like, yeah, these are actually terrifying. They're just kind of, I don't know. Yeah. There's not enough.
Just read a review that said they're less Terminator machines and more Barney the purple dinosaur coming to get you.
100%. Well, and I think even in like the video games, this would have made it, I think, them a little bit more terrifying. Is like, I'm pretty sure in the video games they'll like fucking run. Like they can move. Like some of them can like fucking move. And like in the video game, like you're sitting in the security office, you just like operate the doors. Where like if one's coming down a hallway, you close the fucking door off so that they can't get to you. But like I think there's
something about like the fox like sprinting around or some shit.
Yeah, the fox would like sprint down that fucking hallway and get you, and it was just like you could add some creepy shit with just like you're just like looking down a long hallway and that fox just turns a fucking corner and just comes sprinting after you. Will add a little bit more suspense, a little bit more like get that adrenaline pumping, but no. They just didn't. So, yeah. Just an alright surface value movie. 5.5. What did we give Willy's Wonderland? Do you even remember?
No. We should make a wiki page for all of our
scores. Honestly, we should, yeah.
God, we'd have to like go back in and listen to every episode to figure out where we said the score at.
Yeah. That would be too difficult, I feel like.
No, we can just split it out like 50-50.
Yeah.
All right. But this is just a short episode, and we'll probably have another episode up this week. But this has been our review of Five Nights at Freddy's. If you enjoyed this, maybe give us a positive review. Maybe something better than a low 5. Unless the score only goes up to 5, in which case, please give us a 5. We are cool guys, and we enjoy that if you listen to this far, you listened all the way here.
If you enjoyed the music, that music is done by Carl Casey at Whitebat Audio. Give him a follow, give him a listen.
He does make that
shout out.
Sound.
Shout out. Carl Casey, if you ever listen to us and you want to make us some custom music for the pod.
He won't. He's far too busy. He's doing
probably
real boy things.
He's killing it with the ambient music.
We also have a Patreon if you wanted to support us, support our little podcast, pay for our when we have to rent movies.
Yeah.
Scott, do you know our Patreon?
Nope.
It's patreon.com/badpipespodcast.
Nice. Also, give us a follow on X/Twitter at badpipespod.
Yeah. And if you want to email us, maybe like recommend us a movie or something so that we don't have to, dredge the theater barrels. You can email me at cryptidworksofficial@gmail.com. And I don't know. You don't have to recommend anything. You could just say hi. You could also say rude things, but I wouldn't recommend that because that'd be rude. But yeah, we appreciate you, and we hope that you say hi to your dog for me. And
have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend. Or if you're listening to this on a Monday, look forward to that weekend, little buddy. You're doing it.